Hello. What's up, bitches? Good morning. I'm now on the East Coast, so I'm an hour ahead of what I normally, or wait. Yeah, an hour behind of when I normally stream in the mornings, which is 10 o'clock Central. But now it's like 9 o'clock Central. It's 10 something here. So I'm early. Yeah. But I'll see if anybody wants to chat, and then I'll talk by myself if need be. Um, I went, yeah. Let's see. What do I want to talk about? I don't know. Oh shit! Well, we'll see if the laptop stays alive throughout the stream. We'll see. So, I was thinking about a lot of stuff. One of my thoughts is about the public school system and kind of education in general, and how I don't think we really have a good, well, we definitely don't have a good grasp on it of like how to teach people, or maybe, or we do, but we just don't do it that way. I think that's more likely, is that we do have a good grasp on how to teach people, and we purposefully don't teach children and people in the way that is good for them. I think that's kind of where it's at. But my thinking and main qualms are directed at um, public school system, government funded education. That is where I see the most problems and trouble coming from. Is government funded education. It's a recipe for disaster, because the teachers, they can't teach what they want. They can't teach the way that they want. They have to fulfill the curriculum and everything that is in it. They have to meet the standards, and they get these standards and curriculum from, the higher ups at their school, usually, and the higher ups at their school get it from, I don't know, the superintendent of the school, or like maybe that's the higher ups, but then they get that from probably the people who create the curriculums, and the people who create the curriculums are just a bunch of retards, in my opinion. And then, of course, the people who create the curriculums, they're not doing it out of their own free will and good nature. Like, they're being told what they have to include into curriculums and what to put in them, what information, what should be taught to children. And it's like, where does that come from? Well, it come, there's like a board of education or something at the White House, Secretary of Education and whatnot. So obviously, whoever is in that position probably has some influence and say, but they're not the ones that are creating everything and figuring out what should be taught to children. It goes way further than that. What's up, Billington Bear? I'm currently trying to work through my thinking about the government-funded public education system and like working through where the curriculum comes from. And I've gotten all the way down from, you know, the teacher who can't teach the way they want or anything that they actually want to teach, up to the Secretary of Education in the White House, who also doesn't get to probably include what they want in the like what should be taught. They're also just being told what to do. So how far up does it go is the question. And I mean, that's a good question. How far up does it go? It pretty much probably goes all the way up. Yeah, indoctrination camp, exactly. Thank the Rockefeller, Carnegie Mellons of the world. Yeah, the redacted tribe. But I mean, we all know that the Jews, like those type of Jews, the Rockefeller, Carnegie Mellons, those Jews are like, they're not Jews, more or less. They're just using that as a title, is what it seems like. Like they're just using that for protection. Tippy top, tippy top. That's right, tippy top. It's not the Secretary of Education, that's for sure. They want employees and soldiers, not entrepreneurs. Yeah, they don't want free thinkers. Liability shield, yeah. Like Big Bear says, I forget, what is it? Rothschild means red shield, right? Like the red shield, they're just being used as a shield. So that applies widely, in my eyes, to just the title of Jew, because they really do just use that as a shield. It's like anybody says anything against them, and they're just like, they don't take it seriously at all, or nobody does, because then mainstream and the masses are just like, oh, you're anti-Semitic, you're going against the Jew. Yeah, they're turning kids into, they're trying to influence kids to be gay and trans. Yeah, they're like torturing them and, child sex trafficking, all that. But come on, they're innocent little Jews. How dare you? Okay, we're back. I said reconnecting. But yeah. These quote unquote Jews will, they love child sex trafficking. They love just destroying. Come on, why does it keep doing that? We're going to try and go on data. See if that does anything better. Like I'm saying, people are retarded. These Jews are doing these quote-unquote Jews are doing the most heinous crimes known to man, the most disgusting, vile things ever. And if you speak out against it and say anything, the masses are conditioned and brainwashed into repeating a phrase that's been put into their head, which is, you're anti-Semitic. Oh, you're going against the precious little Jews. How dare you? How dare you? They're perfect. Perfect souls. Yes, they might be, I don't even want to say what they're doing because it's just terrible. But yeah, they might be doing the worst things known to man, but precious souls, how dare you ever say anything against them? So, obviously, all that to say, I'm not trying to be... Fuck. Hello? Is back? Hello, Max Bear. Am I here? Can you hear me? It went on to a different app when my phone slammed down. I just want to make sure we're good. I mean, I would assume we're good, but I don't know. I'm confused. Very confused. 100%. All right, thanks. So, obviously, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here and just say, oh, the government funded education system is run by the quote unquote Jews and they're just making us into drones and like blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, of course, that is what's happening. We all know it. It's terrible. But that's not, just talking about that isn't good because you need solutions. So, what I was thinking about the other day is how one would take back your power and gain actual influence and control of what goes on in the public education system. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, it wouldn't, it really wouldn't be a public education system if you do what I'm thinking of doing, I guess. Like the words don't work out. But, so get this, most people pay taxes, and those taxes go towards a lot of things. Yes, okay. Billing Tano Bear says attention goes, energy flows, focus on solutions like homeschooling. Great. Yes, homeschooling is likely the best option. I agree. I'm trying to figure out how like homeschooling is great, but if we're being realistic, the a good majority of people are not in the position to teach their own children, largely because they put themselves in that position and they don't want to do it. So, like, let's not ignore that part of it. But nevertheless, they aren't in the position to homeschool. So, either they send their school to indoctrination camp, or they send their kid to indoctrination camp, or the community steps in and takes back control of the public school, which would probably then make it a private school, I guess, with the way I'm thinking. And like, I don't know if this could ever happen because the government has so much control over the education system. So what I'm saying is most people pay taxes. Those taxes go to all sorts of things, but they also go towards paying for the public school system. That is exactly why I'm reflecting on Max Del Bay. I was thinking about it the other day and I'm just talking about it now. So I was thinking, I talked to my mom about it because we were driving from Wisconsin to Massachusetts. So I was going all over the place between talking about, my ideas for the future and like just ladling some gravy because, she's not into a lot of stuff and she has a hard time accepting new ideas. But I did the best I could to, ladle some gravy for her. Like we got into some Nazi stuff. We got into, a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the ideas I laid down was how to change the public school system. And it was based around crowdfunding and community funding, pool your money together. Because, like I said, most people pay taxes. Those taxes technically go towards paying for the public school system. So, why do we need that middleman? Why do we need the government as a middleman for paying for the public school system? Because when we do that, we give up all power. We have no say of what goes on in the school. People send their kids to school for 8 hours a day to be abused and manipulated and indoctrinated. And anybody can do anything to their kids at any time for 8 hours a day. The teachers can be the most fucked up, crazy people. They can be transgenders. They can be pushing transgender ideology. Right. The government wants to indoctrinate people. So it would probably be really hard to take back control of an already public school. Like, I don't know how that would happen. Parents want to warehouse their kids. Yeah. Yeah, they do. And honestly, it's probably one of the most crazy things. Like, I cannot wrap my mind around the fact that parents want to send their kids off for 8 to 10 hours a day, not see them at all, let anybody say anything to them. And then when they come home, they you know, like they just don't even have relationships with their children. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. And when they do try to have relationships with their children, it's just terrible. They don't know how. Like, but yeah, that's a bit demoralizing. There's a lot of that going on. But why do we need the government as a middleman for education? Why can we not use our money to go straight to the school and therefore have our own voice be heard as a community, because we're crowdfunding for the school, of what we want to be taught in the school, how we want the school to run, anything and everything? Why do we need the government as a middleman? Why do we give up all our power for what goes on in the school? Like, all the money goes to taxes. Why? Why can't we use that money to go to the school? So, like, if you did something like this, I feel like it would turn the public school into a private school, like, technically. But I don't know how those definitions would work in this scenario all that well. But I don't see why people accept the way things are in the school system, and how they think it's a good situation, and how they just give money to the government, let the government do whatever they want with their children, and that's that. They don't try to homeschool. They don't try to do anything. They just send them off to indoctrination camp. Like, we could, like, any community can do it if you have good leaders in the community. You start a movement, kind of, sort of. You get people together. You crowdfund. Like, first you have to, you know, like, I definitely don't know the actual steps of how this would work. All I know is my idea of crowdfunding to pay for the public school system instead of paying it through taxes. That's my only base idea. I have not worked through the actual steps to get there. So that's definitely where it gets tricky. Logos Joyful Music joined. Hello. Welcome. So yeah, you'd have to talk to a lot of people. You'd have to talk to the people at the school. Or you would, since everybody at the school is being paid by the government, maybe just go around them. Like, fuck them. You'd probably want to John Taylor Gatto. I have not. Is that really old guy that Owen he played a video of John Taylor Gatto on the stream one time? Like, he was talking about where school system came from and stuff like that. Try to take down public schools would be a fool's errand. They won't give up control. Alternatives to public schools is the way. I think your heart is in the right place, and it can be done on an individual and small group level, but I don't know if this is escaping the taxation. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I don't really necessarily think you can escape the taxation. I'm just thinking on the base level of like, hey, we're already paying for the school system, but we have no say in it. And yes, like Billingtano said, alternatives to public schools is the way. And, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, obviously, we can't stop it. It's going to keep going. It is a fool's errand to try and stop and get rid of the public school system. He will give you the deep dive into the history of public ed. Okay, that's what I thought. It's straight propaganda for creating retarded slaves who think they are free. Absolutely. Waldorf schools have been doing that for a long time, offering an alternative. Yes, and you know who created the idea for Waldorf schools, which I had no idea about until a month ago. And I have a Waldorf school in my hometown. I always knew it was there. I didn't know where that concept came from. Was Rudolf Steiner, the dude who created anthroposophy. Yeah, like that dude crushed. Fucking crushed. Yeah, Montessori is good too, for sure. I found out who Steiner was maybe a little over a month ago. Yeah, like the end of March. And ever since then I've been going to like this Steiner group in my hometown because apparently there's a big community of them there. Community homeschool is the way. No gay teachers ever. Yeah, that's cool too. It's like if a lot of people homeschool and then you come together and like have a community based homeschooling, like that sounds pretty cool. At the very least, like you get more socialization for your children. You get to, meet other based parents and form good community that way. Um, I'd say there are some risks to that, just like there are with, sending your kids to any school. And I mean, with that, you're not sending your kid to school, I know. But there are still risks at a certain level of like, hey, all these families are homeschooling their children. You don't actually know what they're teaching their children. There's free audiobooks of Steiner lectures on YouTube. Yeah, I've seen that. Like some dude like recreated all the lectures and books, and it's all on audio. But like I haven't gotten into that. I've just been reading Steiner books instead. But I might end up listening at some point. We homeschooled 7 kids. Our older children took over after a little while. That's great. That's fucking great. And our younger children are practically geniuses. Yes. Information is so easy, it's really good not to leave the house to teach. Yeah. Just teach them how to read and discern information. Critical thinking. Well, it sounds like you're fucking crushing Logos Joyful Music. Props to you. My wife got Lyme disease, so that's what happens. Pull the kids out of school and start some swing them when our oldest twin girls were 7. Okay. You lost me there for a second. Reading works too, if public schools taught you that at least. Yeah. Did you really, Maxed Out Bear? That is awesome. I forget where you live, but that is so great. I mean, yeah, there's anthroposophical communities everywhere. Like America, the United States is, like Steiner said, is like the place that needs it the most. Like that's like we really need it. Anthroposophy is for America, for the West, but it's like we don't have a ton of them. They're everywhere, but it's like not super prevalent. Yeah, started homeschooling them. I got you. But that is great, Maxed Out Bear. I love to hear it. The town I'm in is supposedly one of like, so anthroposophy is a spiritual science that was thought up and created by Rudolf Steiner, and it is a way to interact with the world around you in a more meaningful way and instead of just thinking thoughts as like this is that, and like being subject to the material world. It's about the interrelation of the spiritual world and the material world through thinking, through your perception and thoughts. Like his main thing is that our thoughts can allow us to understand what is going on in the spiritual world. It's not subject just to the material world. I think I'm kind of hitting the nail on the head there. Don't trust me completely. Just a very cursory search, but also looks like no updates for last year or two. I wonder if they slowed down during Karunka. um, yeah, so that's the thing. All communities, all groups of people are subject to corruption and, you know, retardedness. So Eurythmy, Southern Cal, on the line of LA County and Ventura County. They show contact for Ventura County. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know in Northern Cal, there's definitely some anthroposophical people. Steiner gleaned from others in the 1800s. Can't remember the guy who Steiner learned from. Was mentioned on Crow years ago. Max, do you know? I mean, yeah, he learned from a lot of guys. I know that. Um, I'm reading a book that, like, his first book ever that he wrote on Friedrich Nietzsche. And so he was, he learned from Nietzsche, but like obviously he knew that Nietzsche was kind of crazy and resentful towards the world, but like he took what he could from him, which is what you should do. Um, Maybe you're talking about Tycho Brahe. I think Steiner knew about Brahe and was into him a little bit. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have a feeling. I know Crow mentions Rudolf Steiner and Tycho Brahe as like two of the most influential people for himself. So, but yes, I'm really enjoying getting into anthroposophy and like meeting this giant community in my hometown, and like they're all pretty cool. They really are. I'm working for a biodynamic farmer. I'm doing an apprenticeship with an herbalist that is also an anthroposophist who teaches eurythmy. And oh yeah, that takes me back to my point of like any of these, groups. Yeah, any of these groups, like they're subject to retardedness and just indoctrination and idealism, because this herbalist that I'm gonna do an apprenticeship with, he did eurythmy school for like 4 or 5 years in northern California by Mount Shasta, and he told me that like he's the type of guy that doesn't like to be put in a box and likes to ask questions and likes to ask like, well, why are we doing it this way when like we could do it this way that is like kind of seems better, and like this and that. And in my mind, anthroposophists are supposed to be like open-minded and very like, you know they can see things that like see in ways that other people aren't able to see, and like into ideas and spheres of interaction. But some of them are just fakers. The one in particular I'm thinking of wrote that when radio waves were worldwide in the early 1900s, that is, was hard to be human, and in order to overcome, you have to raise your spiritual potential. Interesting. Interesting. So you have to like raise your vibration in order to combat the technology, essentially. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, all this technology is, the phones we're using, laptops, all the get closer to God, absolutely. All the black cubes, the black mirrors, the black holes, they're all from this this force in the world that's trying to drag us down closer to the material world and convince us that there's nothing other than this material world. That we are only physical beings and that there is no spiritual world. There is nothing else other than the material. That's what these devices are drawing us towards. I also heard that when people were praying in the spirit, that frequency weapons would not work on them, like their vibration was higher. Interesting, very interesting. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of frequency weapons today, that's for sure. They've become very advanced, and yes, technology is not inherently bad. I fully subscribe to that idea. And some people, have a hard time with that, and they think all technology is bad because the majority of time it drags people down to the material world and makes you a zombie. It is retarded to think that physical is all there is. It's like the most retarded thing ever. But we can't ignore that people think that way. People do believe that. People believe there is no reality. That, like with a capital R. People believe there is no truth with a capital T. They think nothing is objective. Everything is just perspective and, everything is subjective. Everything, you can just, work your way around it. And it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I heard somebody downstairs. But yeah, people are retarded. That's really what it is. And they weren't born like that. They didn't come into this world retarded unless they were, born retarded with something. But even those type of people, retarded is not a good word for them. And that's why retarded is just like it shouldn't even be an insult. It's just a descriptor of a type of behavior. Realizing that the world has been purposely retarded, they've been retarded for the last 100 years to make them think we are technologically advanced. That's a big one too. Yeah. It's like we are the least technologically advanced we've ever been, probably. But we have these black holes to convince us that we're amazing and super smart, when all we're doing is using combustion engines. It's so stupid. Energy is everywhere. You can literally sing and make energy. Yeah, we really are so primitive. We're just using explosion after explosion to get places. Cathedral gravy? Yeah. Cathedral gravy is great. So, I walked around Boston yesterday because I'm in Massachusetts. I took the train from the little town I'm in, my grandma's house, to Boston. And I walked all around from noon to 8. And we should normalize calling people corkies. It's much more endearing than retarded or disabled or whatever. Oh, Corky. Yeah. The cartoon Corky. That's good. My wife used grounding to heal from Lyme. Antiquitech. Yes. So I walked around Boston, and there is so much to see. And it's the same for every city. All the architecture is super old. There's so much symbology everywhere. And there's a fair amount of Antiquitech. It's usually on the quote unquote churches and whatnot, but you can see it on other buildings as well. And definitely on the state capitol building is a giant golden dome with a tip, and that's blatantly obvious. But some of the things that stuck out to me when I was walking around in terms of symbology was, I saw fascies everywhere. like the bundle of sticks. Like there was fascies on so many buildings. And I don't fully grasp what those symbolize. I've heard some theories about them, and I've entertained theories as like fascies used to be like an old frequency weapon that was used because like it's got like the axe sticking out on the side or what looks like an axe, and people are like, okay, well that's definitely not just an axe weapon, like that makes no sense. Realizing we are Corkies as well, let us be humble and receive the info that goes against our established paradigm. Boston is full of fags. That's very true. And I was surprised. Well, Boston is very multicultural. There's people from all over there. Because I was really surprised. I didn't run into anybody in Boston with like a thick accent all day. Because there's just people from all over, everywhere in Boston. So like you're more likely to run into somebody from that moved like from across the world than you are to meet somebody from Boston. I have met generational people who haven't believed anything they've seen on TV. Generations of realm earthers who knew TV was always fake and gay. Yeah, that's great. That is great. I wish we had, like, I haven't met anybody like that, I don't think. It'd be nice to. I've probably met them, I just don't know it because we've never talked about it. They have no idea who Owen is or any conspiracy theories. I've seen these people run their diesel trucks on used motor oil. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that's so true. There's people out there that are just living you know, the best life. Like they know what they're doing and they are not, like Amish are great for sure. They have their faults, like yeah, they're into incest and they eat a lot of sugar. So there's that, but on base level, like the way they live their lives and the community building and the way they can just bring guys together and put up a barn in a day, like it's fucking awesome. Makes me want to be Amish. Go find an old farm in the country and start hitting up those old boomers. There's a lot of info they have to pass on, but they have no children. Interesting. It's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Do you ever watch Robert Sepper, or however he spells it? Sepper? No. No, I don't. Never heard of him. Interesting. Some Amish might be cool, but there is no group of people that are all based. Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of Amish around my town on the outskirts, and definitely good majority of them are cool. Definitely some of them are straight retarded, and I would not want anything to do with them. And that goes for literally every group of people, no matter what. Even anthroposophists. Like the the one group of people that's supposed to be like the leaders in this spiritual thought and like new way of thinking and movement and like being open to the world around you, even them, even they can be just retarded and closed-minded and idealistic and not wanting to hear new ideas. It's sad, but it's true. People in all groups can be influenced and just corrupted. I partnered with a guy in North Carolina to open a farm to a table restaurant last February. Then I worked his farm and butchered. I was able to meet some of those old farmers at that time. That sounds great. Farm to table restaurant. That I want some. I want some. He has some Atlantis gravy. Yeah, I went day tripping the other day. There's so much interesting, weird history under the surface of SoCal. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everything is under the surface. gave me confidence that our little community of truthers is actually, sure, yeah, I hear you, not as significant as we think. Okay, here's the thing. Everything is under the surface. Our civilization is entirely built upon a foundation of the old civilization. And that foundation is really just like the top of what used to be the previous civilization. Like it all goes underground. Every major city has networks underground. They call them tunnels, but really they're just passageways and openings from the past civilization of the entire city complex that used to be there. But now it's just all underground. The Bear Trail is actually just a small aspect of a very large trail of based people that never watched Hollywood. Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck, phone? Why did you do that? That was retarded. Okay, I think I'm back. There's a video he did of the community of the king of something, can't remember. He has a homestead still standing there as a museum by Santa Barbara. What was his name? Robert Sepper? Something like that. So yeah, everything is underground. We're just on top of the previous civilization. So as like I said, I was walking through Boston yesterday. I went to the state capitol building, and there was a sign outside that said, "Find out what's under the dome." And I was like, for a tour, and it said it was only 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, mainstream tour. This will probably be retarded, but I'll do it anyways. Of course, by the end of the tour, I was very disappointed because we didn't actually get to see what was under the dome. He just took us through the building. And so I asked him, I was like, so we don't actually get to see what's inside the dome? And he's like, no, I've been trying for years working here and they won't let me either. I'm like, those fucking bastards. The more I learn, the more the scriptures are confirmed, especially about the demonic world. It's manifesting hardcore, Jezebel, especially as we shine brighter. Yeah, it's true. Have you heard of Ahriman? Um, that's the kind of the counter opposite to Lucifer, but also an evil entity and force at work in the world. Steiner talked about it. I mentioned that to Rose 777, and she grew up near there, went there as a kid, I guess. You know, there's a road in the valley here named Firmament. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I went to the Capitol building, didn't get to find out what's inside the dome, was very disappointed. So after the tour, I'm like, okay, fuck this. Let's find out. Yes, good job, Billing Tano Bear. Good job. That's what I was talking about earlier, but I didn't name Ariman by name. I was talking about how technology tries to bring us down to the physical world and convince us that there's nothing other than physical, like the material world. That is exactly right. Ariman, like this technology, these black holes are an embodiment of the Ahrimanic forces. And Rudolf Steiner said that Ahriman was going to incarnate in 1998, the third multiple of 666, and like give or take a year, he said too. So with that, allegedly being true, he's pretty much my age, which is crazy to think. I've heard that there's a godly AI as well. Every good and perfect gift comes from above. You can't say the devil makes anything. It's always perverting the good. Pay it. Yeah. WWW was just getting started around 98. Oh yes, WWW. Yep. I hear you. I had to think for a second, but then I connected the dots. I remember somebody saying something about www.com. Oh, hello, Pay Forward Productions. That's what Logos was saying. Yo, Pay Forward. What's up? How goes it? So, yeah, we're talking about a good majority of things. Um, so yeah, Ariman incarnates 1998, give or take, which means he's only a couple years older than me, probably. So I'm going to grow up in an age that Ariman is supposedly incarnated, and it's most likely he won't become a public figure in the public eye until he's, around 30, until he, like, past 28. That's when the ego has fully developed and you've developed a sense of I, and like you know who you are. Make sure you all are eating the new growth baby pine cones. The most vitamin C you can get in all of nature, and it's completely bioavailable because of the terpenes. Really? Really? I'm trying to see if there's any pine trees out by here that I could eat the pine cones. I've never heard that before. Thank you for the information. I am 21, going on 22 at the end of this month. So Ariman is going to be, 24, 25, allegedly. So, pine needle tea. Ooh, yummy. Very yummy. That sounds really good. Once you develop the eye after 28, like that's pretty much the time where you should have fully developed your ego and understand your eye. That's likely when Ariman will come out into the public eye a little bit, or like start doing things in the public and becoming a figure. Like, yes, youngin. I'm going to be 40 in October. Nice. Yeah. It's funny, like it seems like, the large majority of people who listen to Owen are around his age, which makes sense. They're all like 40-year-olds. And that those are most of the people that I've met and talked to. Everybody that I ask their age is like, yeah, I'm like 40. I'm 42, like 43. I'm like, yeah, wow. You're all double my age. Yes, I am way ahead of the game. At least that's kind of how I think of it too. So thank you. And I'm happy because shit is coming and somebody needs to see it. And, the people in my family don't really see it at all. I'm the youngest in my family, and I know the responsibility falls on me. I am the inheritor of my brother's responsibilities, and I accept that. I always tell this guy he has got this guy he has got made. He knows all the right stuff and is doing everything right that I did wrong and blew up my life. Well, I think you're in a better place now, Maxwell Bear. Is that correct? So, you learned from your mistakes, which is solid. And, I learned from my mistakes as well. I just made them early on. So now I'm like 21. I've seen a lot of shit and made a lot of mistakes. So it's like, okay, now I can, do what I know is good now. It's like, I know what's not good. I know I'm not going to do it anymore. So like now I can focus on what's good, true, and beautiful. Just pop them in your mouth? Really? The new growths are tender and a bit sweet. The whole tree is edible. Distill the sap and make the turpentine and run it in your gas engines. Sheesh. That is that is some solid information. Sure, I love life, but still find laughter in my own mistakes. Absolutely, and that's the way to do it. Laugh at yourself. Just fucking laugh at yourself, especially your mistakes, because it allows you to get over them and not feel attached. Just laugh, because we've all been retarded at times. Absolutely. The Cambrian layer under the bark is edible year round. Pine needle tea is great for vitamin C too. Yeah, dude, once you start finding out these things, you realize there's no lack and there's so much abundance. Yes, absolutely. Scarcity is a myth. Scarcity is just, a story that we're told. Yeah, me too, maxed out bear. I want to go scarf some pines today. If you don't laugh at yourself, you'll go crazy. Yup, you gotta laugh at yourself. If you just stay serious the entire time and can't laugh at the retarded things you've done, like that's just a recipe for disaster. An absolute recipe for disaster. So sad. Okay, so I'm gonna try and finish my story of the Capitol building in Boston. So after the tour, I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm gonna try and see if I can, find anything cool in this place. So I went to the top floor, fifth floor, started checking doors, see if they're locked, checking like mechanical doors, see if I can find any ladders up to the dome. There were a couple ladders, but they led to locked hatches that you needed a key to get in. So I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. I found a spiral staircase in a corner that I took it up, but that led just to a door that you needed a card key to get through. So much of an energy boost. Buying veggies is yeah. Wild edibles are 1000% more minerals. Yes, yes. I really want to get into foraging for sure. And the herbalist I'm going to do an apprenticeship with, like, we do everything from foraging in nature to creating tinctures. And it's like, it's great. I love it. So I'm gonna try and get into that and like getting food from nature. So there was nothing on the top floor of the Capitol building, nothing that I could get into. Reishi grows in your area. Yes, I've seen a lot of reishi. That's true. So I went to the basement. Nobody has ever died from eating a mushroom. That's fake news. Try to find somebody, I dare you. That's a good point. Yeah, it's only ever been on the news to make you scared about eating mushrooms and stuff in nature. It's pretty true. I mean, not to say that there aren't poisonous plants out there that you shouldn't just go around eating, but I hear what you're saying. So I went to the basement, started checking doors down there. They were all locked. I found a mechanical elevator that the gate was able to open. So I went in there. It said there's basement, subfloor, and subfloor. So I tried to go to the subfloor, of course, but then I realized you need a key to operate the elevator. So I was pretty disappointed. Whenever you look up a mushroom to identify it online, it always says that tons of people have died from it on the first page. Seriously? What? Scroll down, then you always see tons of recipes for the same mushroom. Oh, that is retarded. Okay, so the floor was tile, and you know how like there's like hatch doors and tiles, like it's like three tiles. It's not actual tiles, but it blends in with tiles, and it swings open like that. I found one of those doors on the floor, and I was like, that looks like it could open. So I opened up one side. It opened. I like jammed my fingers in the crack, and it opened up. And then it got stuck open because it was like a super old fucking door, and it like broke after I opened it. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going all in. So I dropped down into the subfloor. There was like brick pillars around holding the ceiling up, and I was like, is this it? There's just a little like basement area with some stuff going on. I was like, there's got to be more. And then in the corner of the room, there was a little staircase that led down into an expansive network of hallways going in all directions. So I started following them. Most of them led to dead ends. One of them I took led to even more hallways. And like I took a video of what was down there, and just like these giant fucking foundational blocks, like massive, super massive. And of course, that's only the subfloor. Like that goes down further to the subfloor. So who knows? But the subfloor was just filled with mechanical stuff, like stuff to make the building run and everything. So I'm thinking like what's in the subfloor? If they use all that space in the subfloor just to make the building run, the subfloor is probably like storage for ancient things, is my guess. But I got kind of unlucky. I ended up, going down the hallways. I heard a few people down one of the hallways, and I was like, "Oh fuck, there's people down here." And then like I was able to sneak past them and like get down one end of the hallway, and like they didn't see me. And then that led to a dead end. So I was like, "Fuck, the only way through this is to go through the people." So I just walked casually towards the people. There was one younger guy and one younger guy standing up working on something, and two older guys just chilling, talking. So I just walked up to him. I walked up to the young guy and I was like, "Do you know how to get to the subfloor from here?" And he just points me to the direction. He's like, "Yeah, probably like down that way." I was like, "Okay, cool, thanks." And then one of the older guys that was sitting down stands up and he's like, "What are you doing here? Like, are you a visitor? Like, do you work here or are you just a visitor?" So yeah, yeah, I'm a visitor. And he's like, "You're a visitor of the building? Like you just came in today?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm just checking out the building, seeing what's going on." And he's like, "What the fuck? What do you? How did you get down here?" I was like, "I found an open door, and I'm just seeing what's in the building, you know." he's, he's like, "You can't be down here. We're gonna get in trouble. You cannot be down here. Like, I don't know how you made it down here, but you cannot be down here. Like, this is bad. This is really bad." So he immediately escorted me to the elevator and sent me on my way. And I was disappointed that I never made it to the subfloor. But in my estimation, I'd say 99% of the visitors at that building never made it to the subfloor. So I'm still proud of myself at the very least. Like it was really fun. And I got to see some subterranean networks and foundations of giant fucking stone blocks. So that really fascinated me, especially because I know it goes deeper. It's like, what the fuck? What's down there? A high vis vest and a clipboard could have got you through. Absolutely. Absolutely, it could have. I could have played it so well. I'll just be like, if I had that, I totally could have made it work. Because I could have been like, um, yeah, I'm just here to check out the place, look around, see what's going on. Like if I that's what I thought I could have said, it definitely wouldn't have worked. But because like I just told the truth. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just checking out the building, walking around, found an open door, acting like you belong there is often 75% of it. Yeah. Next time wear a fake mustache too, just for lulz. Yeah, I'll go on with the full outfit. Inspector of something or other. Yeah, I'm just inspecting the foundation. I'm looking at the foundational blocks and seeing if they're intact. These hundreds and hundreds of year old blocks. See if they're still holding up. Maybe go in blackface, then they'll be too shy to scold you. Oh, that's great. That is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start carrying around a clipboard and high vis vest. That can get you in so many places. You don't even have to say anything. It just works.
All right. Peace out, bitches. Don't be a bitch.